Everybody, it's your boy Chaz Pearson, and this is the Outlet Forum with my esteemed co-host Chris Camello. What up, Chris?
We last week we did a really early show. Now we're doing a really late show. The one thing we certainly are not inconsistent about is our consistency.
Hey, you got to roll with the punches. We had a special interview last week. Hope you guys tuned in to see Brandon Scoopy Robinson. And this week was a great Laker game. And we, of course, wouldn't come on and have you listen to us while Luca is dropping 21 points in the first half and the Lakers blowing out the Nuggets. But we'll get into that along with the Dubs, the Warriors getting a big win over the Milwaukee Bucks without Steph. The Cavaliers can't seem to get right after winning 16 straight. They dropped three straight in a row. And JB Bickerstaff has the rant of the year after Shea Gilgeous-Alexander goes off on the Detroit Pistons over the weekend. But Chris, obviously, tonight was Luka's night. Didn't even play the fourth quarter. The Lakers rolled the Nuggets 120, 108 in a great game. I mean, you had everything going on for the Lakers. They couldn't miss a shot really in that first quarter. I believe they put up 44 points in that first quarter, and Luka outscored the Mavericks. I'm sorry, the Mavericks, the Nuggets in the first quarter by himself. What did you make of the win for the Lakers, making it three straight after losing so many in a row? And does this really set them up to secure that 2 seed in the West?
Well, it certainly was a big win from the tiebreaker standpoint. So now they've won 3 out of 4 against Denver. So now they're setting themselves up for a potential, to jump the Nuggets in the case of a tie, late in the season. So winning these games, these head-to-heads aren't just good for the standings. They're also good for the tiebreakers. Yeah, they look good tonight. I mean, look, I don't know how much stock you want to put into this game. No Nikola Jokic, no Jamal Murray. Denver's in the middle of this long road trip, although they were coming off of a sneaky good win against the Golden State Warriors. I believe it was on Monday night up in the Bay Area. So they basically pulled a page out of the Lakers book. You know what? Our stars are not healthy. We're going to sit them just like the Lakers did against the Denver Nuggets last week. And the Lakers almost pulled out a win tonight. You didn't really see, even though Denver kind of made it close there at the end during garbage time, you never really got the sense that they were going to steal that game from the Lakers the way the Lakers almost went in and took the game from them last week over in Ball Arena. So, look, Lakers have not been a great road team all season long. We know that their bread and butter is playing at home, which is why I have pushed for making the 6 seed or the 5 seed, even if you're healthy, is not good enough. You got to play for home court advantage because you're better at home. That's just what it is. Not say that you can't win a series without it, because if you're splitting the 2 games on the road, or if you're winning 2 games over the course of a week, you're handling your business on the road. But tonight, yeah, Luka set the tone early. He was in a good rhythm. Getting this win makes tomorrow a little bit easier. That if you don't get it, it's not as big of a blow. Like last week, they lost all.
Yeah.
Both of those games on the back-to-back. You lost all 4 on the road trip, including the one in Brooklyn. Those losses were significant. They weighed more. Now, if you lose tomorrow, it's not as bad, although Milwaukee has not exactly been playing great lately either.
No.
So there's an opportunity to potentially win both sets of this back-to-back and finally get your head above water after really a condensed schedule. But Luka was phenomenal tonight. Connect was good. The three-point shooting was awesome. And they got to win. So make it 3 in a row after losing 4 in a row. So certainly something to feel good about.
So the Lakers move into the 3 seed, tied with the Denver Nuggets, 13 and a half games back of the OKC Thunder. The Rockets just can't seem to lose in the last couple weeks. They win their 8th straight tonight, so they actually have the 2 seed. And the Nuggets, obviously, without Jokic and Murray, they must be really dealing with some tough injuries. Obviously, Jokic with the elbow, and Murray, I believe it was a hamstring as well. Chris, who do you think ultimately is going to secure that number 2 seed when all is said and done, given the schedule that they
I don't
have coming
know.
down the road?
I honestly don't know. It could be Denver. It could be Houston. It could be Memphis. It could be the Lakers. Memphis just got Jaren Jackson Jr. back healthy. They're still working on getting John Morant back out there. But The Lakers' schedule does lighten up a little bit after this 2-game set, which includes Milwaukee tomorrow night. They have Chicago. Chicago's been playing pretty good ball. They're going to probably be in the play-in game yet again this year. Then you hit the road for 4 games. Orlando. I don't know what to make of Orlando. They're fighting for their playoff lives. They beat the Lakers earlier this season. They play tough defensively. You got Indiana on there who came back tonight, almost had a devastating loss at home to Dallas, but were able to come back. You got Memphis, who the Lakers have taken 2 out of 3 from, and you got Chicago again. So the schedule lightens up. They're all winnable games, and chances are, Chaez, you're going to probably get Hachimura and or LeBron back. I'm thinking both. I think Rui comes back Saturday. I don't think Rui plays tomorrow, which sucks because he's on my fantasy team. I'm in the playoffs, and I don't
Back to
have a
back.
lot of my key guys. Yeah, it's a back-to-back. It wouldn't shock me if he plays tomorrow, but I think Saturday is more likely. I don't think we see LeBron
Another day
until the road
off.
trip. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
they're going to give LeBron the rest of this week, reevaluate him Saturday, Sunday, and then make a decision whether or not he joins them on this road trip. So I think the 2 seed probably won't go to the Lakers. I think it probably ends up going to Houston. But who knows? We still got 3 weeks left in the season. A lot can change. And everybody is so bottlenecked with each other. The only thing we know for sure is the Thunder are going to be the 1 seed. Who do you think is going to be the number 2?
I think the Nuggets do not have the momentum they need to get a top 3 seed. I think they're going to lose more than they win to end the season. So I got
Focus on getting
I got
healthy.
I got the Nuggets possibly facing Memphis in the first round, and those 2 teams getting the 4 or 5 seed. I got the Lakers in the 3 seed and Houston in the 2 seed. So exactly how it stands right now is the way I think it's going to finish. OKC 1, Houston 2, Lakers 3, Nuggets 4, Memphis 5, which would actually set up pretty great for the Lakers because they're on the other side of the bracket from OKC having that 3 seed, and they would get the winner of either Houston or whoever's in the 7 seed, which we'll talk about. I believe it might be the Minnesota Timberwolves, who had an awful loss against the Pelicans, who are seems like they're trying to tank these days, but somehow they come up with a 119-115 win uh, over the Minnesota Timberwolves. Chris, there's so many different points with the Lakers right now. The fact that Luke is hitting shots behind the backboard, running into the tunnel before this game, the fact that Austin Reeves seemed to find an additional level of creativity on his crossover, and he's playing great right now. Gabe Vincent has turned back into the Gabe Vincent of the Miami days. Are the Lakers really that dangerous right now? Or do you think that somebody can take them out because they really just have Jackson Hayes on the inside right now, man?
Well, matchups dictate fights, right? And the thing is, no one in the Western Conference really has an imposing front court, right? You have talented big men, right? Whether you look at Denver with the Joker, whether you look at OKC with Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren, Şengün is no slouch, an all-star this year with the Houston Rockets. Jaren Jackson Jr. was last year. He won Defensive Player of the Year last year or
Yeah,
2 years ago
yeah.
with the Memphis Grizzlies, and of course they have Zach Edey. I mean, really, matchups just dictate fights, and the Lakers are going to get some of that size back when they get Hachimura back, and even Trey Jemison. I think they're missing his intensity and his physicality in the paint as well. But I don't think that will be a deterring factor. If this was 10, 15 years ago, I think it would. But I don't think it's going to deter them. I think what's going to deter them is injuries. It's going to be consistency, and it's going to be, can they be able to win? Are they able to win without knocking down a lot of threes? That's, I think, the
Yeah.
big question with the Lakers, because they have become a lot more dependent on that 3-point shot. And if they're not knocking down threes like they are tonight, can they still beat you? They might, but their defense really has to step up. And they have. But I just want to see what it's going to look like once LeBron is back, once Hachimura is back, and how committed they stay to the defensive end and finding different ways to win when they're not hitting threes, which they did prove during that 8-game winning streak. They could beat you in a variety of different ways. We just need to see that as we get to the home stretch of the season.
Yeah. And during that 8 game winning streak, they had LeBron playing every single one of those games. So it's just important that these guys get healthy, stay healthy towards the end of the season and, win as many as you can. Kind of like the Golden State Warriors. The Golden State Warriors are playing great right now, and they pick up a great win over the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Bucks, like you said, just can't get right either. I believe they've lost three of their last four, and they need every win that they can. That it seems like that shot from Tyrese Halliburton really sent them reeling in the last week or so. What did you make of the Warriors win over the Bucks, and juxtapose that to the Cavs, who after winning 16 straight, I almost forgot how many it was. 16 straight. I believe it's a Cavaliers record. They lose three straight now to the
Yeah,
Orlando Magic. And they lost again tonight to the Sacramento Kings, and then last night to the
to the
LA
Clippers.
Clippers because
Clippers.
Kawhi and Zubac just went off in the fourth quarter. So, what's the bigger deal, man?
I got to say it's the Cavs losing three straight. Look, the Dubs beating the Bucks. Look, the Bucks are not a great team. They're a good team. I know I've been pushing for them as a potential sleeper to make some noise in the Eastern Conference, but what they have shown right now is they're in a bit of a funk themselves. So yeah, I mean the Dubs, they need every win at this point. They're trying to get out of the play-in, maybe get themselves into that sixth spot. They're doing everything they can. So and they've been rolling since they got Jimmy Butler. And now they got Jonathan Kuminga back, and they got Brandon Pajemski back, and they're starting to really look like a force right now. So that, while that's an impressive win, anytime you can get a win without a star player, that's, two thumbs up right there, Siskel and Ebert right there for you. But the Cavs losing three straight, I don't see how you can argue that that's not a bigger story. The Clippers are sort of, they have really trailed off, although they're starting to, get a second gear, especially with Kawhi having a great game. They blew a
Right.
big lead to Orlando, and they lost that game. And then, tonight on a second night of a back-to-back, they go up to Sacramento, another desperate team, and they lose again, and lose another tough one. So for a team that didn't lose for seemingly almost a month, and now they've lost three straight to three teams that are not that good, playing caliber teams right now. Yeah, that's a big story, and I can't imagine Kenny Atkinson or the Cavs themselves are happy. However, and I'm going to turn it over to you. Is this a good thing for
However,
them? Is this a good thing for the Cleveland Cavaliers? Let me turn it back over to you.
I mean,
Well, which is a bigger
yeah.
deal? And then
Well, I mean, here's
answer my
here.
question.
I'll answer the former first or the latter first. Um,
Okay.
it is good for the Cavs because it's really the most amount of adversity that they faced all season. I don't think they've lost three
Yep.
straight at any point. So they're coming off of a
I'm with that.
pretty big win at Boston a few weeks ago. They've won 16 straight. Donovan Mitchell is out. Darius Garland's doing his thing. Mobley's out, still winning games. I mean, they're doing a thing. So I think that it's good for them because they got to be able to pick themselves up. And it's right before the playoffs, less than 30 days, like 3 weeks away. So it might be a blessing in disguise for them. But I actually think the bigger deal is the Dubs beating the Bucks because the Cavs are going to be the Cavs. They're going to be in the Eastern Conference Finals with the Celtics regardless. They could lose five of their next eight, and I'm still going to pick them to beat the first two series to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, regardless of who they play, as long as they're
Exactly.
generally healthy. So I think the bigger deal is for the Warriors because they're trying to stay out of the play-in. Steph's tired. He must be really tired for Steve Kerr to say, "Hey, Steph's tired," not play the next day, and the Warriors still get a win that they absolutely need to stay out of the play-in, pretty much. And Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Pajimski, Kaminga, Moses Moody, all those guys chip in and they get a big win. So I think that's actually big for them because the Bucks have been really wanting to win games in some way. They just haven't, even though they beat the Pacers after losing that tough game in Indiana last week, but they've lost two straight since then as well. So I just think that the Warriors really rounding in the form is a really big deal. And the more confidence those, like, here's the thing, the more confidence that you give champions, like, I know Jimmy Butler isn't a champion, but he's been in the finals multiple times. Like, when you give Steph and Jimmy and Draymond and guys that have done it even more confidence that they're winning at eight games straight and Draymond's talking shit in the post game, and they're going off. That doesn't bode well for the rest of the league because these are some of the best players in the league that have done it. And when it comes down to it, experience is going to show. So I'm just curious to know how exactly it's going to shape up for everybody else. But for the Lake Show and for a team like OKC, they don't really have to worry. But everybody else, eh, I don't know. So I got the Warriors being a bigger deal.
Well, yeah,
That 3-game losing streak for the Cavs is just going to be a blip on the radar.
yeah, and like I said, I think it's a bigger deal because they have been this juggernaut all season long. And look, I still think Boston could beat them 4 times out of 7. They might be the only team at this point that could beat them 4 times out of 7. But I think this is good for them. How are you going to respond from it? I think Golden State has shown for a while now, over since Jimmy Butler came over, we are now more of a complete team. I know a lot of people probably didn't believe that Butler would make a whole heck of a lot of difference. But between that, some of our younger players getting healthy, we're starting to become not only a tough team, but a deep team that could find a way to beat you a lot of different ways. Obviously, they're only going to go as far as Steph, but now you have a luxury of resting Steph because of the addition of Jimmy Butler, because of the health of some of their other young players. And now, not only can you rest him selectively, but you could even dial back some of his minutes to make sure that he is healthy enough for the playoffs in the coming weeks. So it's just something to kind of keep. I get your point. I just think right now, the fact because the Cavs have just been so dominant, it's hard to say, yeah, that's not a big story,
Yeah, yeah. We'll see as these games wind down and we get closer to April 14th, I believe it is the last day of the season. Um, it's just going to more apparent and more apparent how big each of these games really are. And I love the fact that we got to play in now, man. It just makes it so much better and more interesting because right now are really the true dog days of the season. But guys are still playing hard, playing back to backs, trying to win games. You love to see it. Speaking of winning games, JB Bickerstaff
Yep.
wants to win as much as possible. The head coach of the Detroit Pistons, they got a really big win with a bank shot from Cade Cunningham, 25 points, shot 11 and 25 from the field in Miami, 3-point win, a game that they probably should have blown Miami out because Miami's been absolutely awful. But the story here is JB Bickerstaff's rant, and I'm going to try and show a little bit of it. But Chris, what did you make of the rant, and did he have a point with what he said about the officiating?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking it over right now. This was last Saturday night. They lose to Oklahoma City. He said it was disgusting. Look, I'm disgusted by the way that game was officiated, Bickerstaff said. The level of disrespect was above and beyond. The thunder of a guy fall down, trip on his own teammate's foot. They review us for a hostile act. The Thunder throw an elbow to our chest, neck area. I asked the officials to at least take a look at it. It just shows us the respect to take a look at it. No one would take a look at it. The disrespect has gone far enough, and I'm not going to allow a guy to be treated that way, the way that they were treated tonight. I think that there was a typo somewhere. We understand that we play a style of ball that's physical, that's on the edge. I coach my ass off with a passionate way. I'm into the games. Our players are into the games. We understand that, but we deserve a level of respect because we're competing our tails off and bringing something positive to this league. Okay, so he goes on
Yeah,
for that, but that was the meat and potatoes of it. Okay.
it's tough.
First of all, JB Bickerstaff, I think a lot of people thought after what happened with Cleveland last year, right? How they fell apart in the series against Boston. No Jared Allen, eventually no Karis LeVert, no Donovan Mitchell. They kind of went out like some punks in that series. I'm just saying it like it is. They lost in 5 games. They went out like some punks. Without a lot of their guys out there, and there was a lot of narrative around JB Bickerstaff. I think he's a very solid coach. He's very strong. I love what he's doing in Detroit. Clearly, his message and his voice is resonating with that young team. Maybe he's the exact kind of coach that they needed. I like that he does this. Step up for your guys. You are trying to make some noise, and it's almost like, hey, we're here. Take us seriously. We know Oklahoma City is the toast of the town. We know Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to probably be the MVP, but that's not a reason for disrespect. Yes, I don't like rants about officiating. I don't like when players or coaches blame the referees for a loss. However, sometimes there's something bigger there, Chaz. It's not about, blaming the officials for the loss. It's about making sure next time you get those kind of calls in return. Next time you get a little bit more respect, because guess what? It could be a close game. And one call, one way or another, could be the difference between a win or a loss. So I think that's the reason why JB Bickerstaff said it. I don't think, yes, he was disappointed at the loss, but I think he'll even tell you they weren't exactly the reason why they lost. There were just a lot of big things that he wanted to magnify. But hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes and show your players that you're in the trenches with them and show the officials that, hey, we're going to continue to do what we're doing, but just call it
Yeah,
fair.
yeah, but it's going to cost them some money because that fine is coming. Even though
Small price
it's
to
been a
pay.
few days,
Small price to pay.
it's coming at some point because you can't light up the referees publicly like that. So does he have a point? Does he have
Of
a
course
point?
not.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did I like some of the points that he articulated while making his overall point? No, because OKC is competing their tails off. I would argue OKC is actually competing their tails off even more than the Pistons are. Why? Because they have a 13 and a half game lead in the harder conference in the West, in the Western Conference of the NBA. So just because you're competing your tails off doesn't mean that you deserve respect. You have to be able to position yourself to be able to get the calls. And in some instances they were, but also at the same time, you got players like Cade Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Malik Beasley, guys that have played in the league a few years now, but don't get the respect. Why? Because they're not winning players, right? Jalen Duren and Cade Cunningham are too young. Malik Beasley's been traded all over the place. There are certain players and certain guys that don't get respect around the league because they haven't done anything. I'm just be honest. That's just it sucks to suck, really. But do you get disrespect? No. But do you get an additional call? No. I see Christian Coloco for the Lakers just get absolutely mauled by the Phoenix Suns, but couldn't get a call. Why? Because he missed three straight wide open lob attempts. And they're like, yo, if you can't even finish the easy ones, why am I going to give you that call if you can't do that? So that's just a part of high
There
level.
is the star treatment.
There's high level NBA officiating, and then there's the shit that JB Biggerstaff was talking about. And I thought that he was blurring the lines between the two a little bit, and I just wanted to call that out. But overall, I can't disagree. I don't like the foul baiting by SGA or Luca or even Austin Reeves at this point. Like, try and actually make the
I
fucking
agree.
shot instead of looking for contact. Like, let contact be the secondary thing, and try and actually make the shot and just throwing some shit up to the basket or the rim or the backboard.
I couldn't agree with you more. No, I think that's great. And you actually kind of took a point I was going to say, not so much about Luca, but of SGA. And we're hearing a lot more of that now. And that's how sometimes you know that a star has arrived. I remember Phil Jackson was complaining about something about Kevin Durant. And this was like 2009, 2010, when the Thunder were on the rise with, Durant, Westbrook, James Harden, Serge Ibaka, that crew coached by Scotty Brooks, who's now a Lakers assistant, ironically enough. And I remember Phil got fined because he basically said it's hard to go out there and defend a player when they're giving him every call like he's Michael Jordan. Now, I can't come to think of it. I don't remember if it was Phil Jackson who said that or if it was Kevin Garnett. I think it might have been Kevin Garnett, actually, come to think of it on second thought, that he actually said that about KD. And now you're starting to see, I know Chris Finch has made some comments. You've seen some other coaches and players make comments about SGA and the foul baiting and everything like that. And you're right about Luka. That was one of the things that we were all frustrated with him by in that Brooklyn game, because dude, you keep throwing your body into these players trying to get the whistle. And it's like, no, we're not going to bail you out like that because there's not a lot of contact. And instead of, like you said, trying to make the shot, you're focusing more on trying to draw the foul. That's not good basketball right there. That's not really good basketball at all, because now those are wasted. Exactly. And those are wasted possessions. So I think now SGA, they're starting to I think what Bickerstaff and what some of these others are trying to get the officials to do now is basically say, don't just give this guy the automatic start treatment all the time. He's going to get his calls regardless. Just don't fall for the Oakdio. Don't fall for all that crap of trying to get calls all of the time. And the same goes for Luka, and the same goes for Reeves, and the same even goes for a guy like LeBron, because he does that crap too
I just
sometimes.
hope we get Thunder Lakers in the Western Conference Finals because that matchup and the foul baiting and the chess match back and forth, I think the Lakers would win that series because LeBron and Luka and the IQ compared to just SGA and a bunch of guys, even though Jalen Williams, J Dub, and Chet Holmgren, and Caruso and all the Wiggins, all those guys get mad love. But those are the two teams that I really
Oh
want to
yeah, for
see.
sure. Isaiah
Yeah,
Joe.
those are the two
Yeah.
teams I really want to see because the matchup would just be the highest level chess match that you could possibly really see in the Western Conference. Denver would be right there as well, but SGA, it's his time, and I think he's going to be right there. Um, Chris, it's time to talk a little baseball before we get on out of here for the evening. Short show for you guys tonight since we
Yeah.
decided to do it a little late, but the Dodgers are already 2-0 and Roki Sasaki has made his
Yes,
MLB
sir.
debut. The Dodgers sweep the Tokyo series 2-0. Absolutely trounce the Chicago Cubs in back-to-back games. Shohei Ohtani with an absolute moonshot that we thought may have been fan interference, but was a home run. The Dodgers win 6-3 in a major game 2 win. Chris, what did you make of Sasaki's debut? And can it get even better for the Dodgers moving forward?
Well, I mean, this first of all, they didn't have Mookie Betts, who apparently has lost 15 pounds due to an illness, and you didn't have Freddie Freeman, who was a late scratch from Tuesday's
Yeah.
game because of the rib issue, the same rib issue he had late last year. So you won these 2 games without 2 of your top guys. So once again, the depth of the lineup was on full display. You saw a home run from Kike Hernandez today. Teoscar Hernandez had a good game in the first one. Tommy Edman hits a home run. So everyone got in on the action. Yoshinobu Yamamoto was rock solid in the first game. I'm sure it must have been
Whew,
great for him to pitch
gas.
in front of Tokyo and his hometown. And Roki Sasaki, not bad, not great, but not bad. 5 walks. Not there were some control issues, and that's also a rookie being a rookie. Big moment. Pitching in front of his hometown as well in Tokyo and whatnot. It's not easy for these guys to go out and show out in front of their countrymen, their fellow Japanese brethren, so to speak. So I'm sure they were feeling a little bit of nerves, a little bit of anxiousness, but they still went out and they got the job done. The bullpen 6 innings today of 2-run ball. So and the bullpen is missing a bunch of big arms. The Dodgers showed off the depth. And that's what's scary about them, Chaz. They could beat you in a variety of different ways. No Mookie, no Freddie, no problem. And that has really been, before I turn it over to you, that has been their identity, I think, over the last 4 or 5 years, is being able to win games without our star players, And yes, you still have Ohtani, you still have Teoscar, you still have Muncy, you have Smith, you have a lot of these different guys able to step up and play a bigger role. Michael Conforto, now you could add him to the mix. But, how many teams can say we're down 2 of our top players and we're still able to put up 6 runs and win a game? Not many. So that next man up mentality established by Dave Roberts and that coaching staff is a big reason why this team was successful in this 2-game set against Chicago. No slouch of a team whatsoever. I think they're going to win the NL Central this year. But it's a preview of what's to come this year. Hopefully, if they're able to stay healthy. What were your thoughts on the 2-game set in Tokyo?
Cubs are
And are you tired?
Cubs are a good team, not great. I'm tired right now doing this live because I was up back-to-back nights. I got up on both mornings, I guess, so to speak, at 3:10, 3:15 to watch the first game until the 8th inning, and then watch the game this morning until the 6th. And yeah, man, I'm pretty tired. I'm not gonna lie, but it was worth it. I got to see an Otani home run, Sasaki make his debut. He kept missing arm side. I didn't like that. It had some command issues, like you had said, and couldn't really find the zone. Got lucky on that double play that Rojas pretty much made for him, but that's just part of the game. I was actually obviously most impressed with Yamamoto, especially compared to his debut last season. I think it was 5 runs in the first inning. Um, and compared to this
Yeah.
next game, and he played absolutely great, or pitched great, I should say. And Sasaki is obviously, once he settles in, he's going to be pretty nasty. That splitter, to see in slow motion
Yeah.
when Fox slows it up, is great
Devastating.
to watch.
Yeah.
Absolutely devastating. But um, yeah, I just can't wait to see what this team looks like when they're fully healthy, fully going. You got Mookie, Freddie, Otani, even Kike hitting moonshots, Muncy
Yeah.
hitting doubles. I
Tommy
mean,
Edman.
it's going to
Yeah.
be a hell of a season. And how could I miss the NLCS MVP Tommy Edman hitting a moonshot himself, which was great. Man, it's going to be a great
Yeah.
season for the
By the
Dodgers.
way, By the way, there was one major storyline of this game that we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about. Rodney freaking Pete of AM 570, Fred Rogan's partner, snatches a foul ball away from Max Muncy. And he does it like he didn't even try to do it. And he's doing it while wearing a freaking Dodgers sweatshirt. Really, Rodney? Really? Seriously, man? What if
I
that
was
would,
okay.
you almost had a Steve Bartman moment, Rodney. You almost had a Steve Bartman moment.
In the second game of the season, I mean, when you're up 6-3,
Yes,
I think,
yes.
yeah, I think they're actually
Rodney
up like six
Bartman.
to two at that time. But I was
Yes, but
actually
you see how
impressed with
annoyed
it.
Muncy was, dude? Yeah,
He
that was
was. He was
nice.
like, "Oh my god!" But I was actually really impressed. Also because it had no effect on the game whatsoever, as well. So,
It
and he did it right
didn't.
in front,
It
and he did it
didn't.
right in front of his wife as well. So, gotta
Wait,
love
was
that.
Holly there? Holly Robinson Pete?
Yeah, she's right there. She's sitting right there next
Oh,
to him.
nice.
Like
Yeah, no, I didn't.
I
And
mean,
that's what
the
I was
fact that he
thinking.
even
Yeah.
brought a glove to the game is kind of wild, because even if I was sitting there, I wouldn't have brought a glove. So
Who the hell
had
brings
I
a
had a
glove
glove,
to a game?
I mean,
What are you,
I mean,
12, Rodney?
anybody anybody that sits in the home run seats or in the bleachers, but if I'm not sitting, which I
Okay.
never sit in, so
Ah, God, just
I just would never bring
so
a
annoyed.
glove.
Okay, I hear you. That's what I'm saying. So not only this fool not only steals something from Muncie, and maybe Max probably wouldn't make that catch because of that little net that was right there, up on the wall, like
Yeah, he may not
another two,
even.
3 inches. May not even made the catch, but it's annoying when you don't have the opportunity to make the catch. Furthermore, it's even more annoying when you lose it to a guy like Rodney P, who's one of the big voices of LA sports talk radio. So anyway, I'll just leave it at that. I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, no, Dodgers look good. Chaz, do we have time for one more topic within the Dodgers or what? Or are
Yeah,
you ready to call it a night?
go for it. We got a couple minutes. We got 3 minutes. Go
Okay.
ahead.
Dave Roberts signed the extension. 4 years, $32.7 million, making him the highest paid manager in Major League Baseball, surpassing his counterpart from the Tokyo series, Craig Counsell, who's with the Chicago Cubs. Dave's now in his 10th season with the Dodgers. When it's all said and done, are we going to be talking about Dave the way the 40, 50, 60, 70-year-olds talk about Tommy Lasorda? And before you answer that, I want you to consider a couple things. Lasorda was manager for 20 years, 1976 to 1996. He is a baseball icon. He is a Dodgers legend. He is a Hall of Famer. He is a manager of the year. He is a 2-time World Series champ. Last I checked, Dave Roberts has never missed the playoffs. Tommy missed the playoffs 8 times. Last I checked, Dave Roberts has, I believe, 500 plus win seasons under his belt. Tommy, I believe, only had a couple, maybe 2 or 3. Dave, in his 9 years, has won 8 division championships. Tommy only won 6. So I understand everyone loves Lasorda, one of the most colorful personalities in baseball, one of the best instinctual managers in baseball. I mean, you talk about the great Dodger managers. It's really cut before Dave Roberts. It goes Walter Alston from the Brooklyn days, Tommy Lasorda, and then Dave Roberts. The question is, am I right or am I wrong about Dave Roberts' legacy being closer to Tommy's than maybe some of the older fans want to give credit to?
Oh yeah,
Your
absolutely. Yeah, he definitely deserves credit, but he won't be looked at in that light for two reasons. One, he doesn't have the personality, and two, there's so many memorable failed years with him as manager, notably 2018 when he took out Rich Hill down 2-1, and the Boston Red Sox with Mookie Betts take a 3-1 lead, and you lose the World Series.
yeah,
When Rich Hill was there. Like, there's so many. So that's number one, and number two, I kind of liken it to Phil Jackson and Pat Riley. Like, Laker fans love Phil, but who would they really
right,
want? They're gonna side with Pat Riley. Phil Jackson won just as many rings for the Lakers, 5, as Pat Riley did for the
right.
Lakers, 5. But why does Pat
Mhm.
Riley get more notoriety with the Lakers? Because he's Pat Riley, and because he was in that Showtime era, and it's nostalgia, so on and so forth. Dave Roberts
For sure.
will get that same treatment with LA Dodger fans if he can make it through the rest of Shohei Ohtani's contract as manager, for one, like, not get fired, first of all, and number two, win at least one or two more championships during that time. So
Absolutely.
the
Yeah,
answer to your question, the
once
answer to your
again,
question is yes, but not
uh,
yet.
okay.
Yes, but not
And
yet.
once again, I never, if you notice how I phrased the question, I did that on purpose to respect the memory of Tommy Lasorda because I grew up with the Dodgers. Some of the first games I remember, Tommy was still manager. I started watching the Dodgers in like 95, 96. Those were his last years with the team. Just like I'm sure, you have a baseball connection as well, like with your family and growing up and watching the Dodgers. So that I am not trying to dump or eclipse the memory or even try to do the whole, Kobe or Jordan and LeBron or any of that stuff. Those are fruitless conversations. What I am saying is, will our generation of Dodger fans, the late teens, 20s, 30-year-olds, regard Dave Roberts like the older generation does with Tommy Lasorda? And I think you alluded to that, and I agree with your points on it. But I think when this is all said and done, especially if he wins another ring or two, oh yeah, they will.
Yeah.
And it may even have to start now. So just wanted to throw that out there. That's
We'll
all.
see. Well, we'll be talking a lot more baseball over the course of the season. Um, and we appreciate you guys tapping in with us tonight on this later night edition of the Outlet Forum. Next week, we will be back to our regular scheduled time at 8 p.m. But until then, thank you for tapping
Thank
in.
God.
Thank God. Thank God. Um,
Yeah. You can close the book on Kellner. Thank God.
if you guys haven't noticed,
Little major league reference for you guys. Yeah.
Chris hates the shit out of these late shows. So we'll see about next week, but we appreciate you guys tapping in. You guys know where to follow us at Chaz Pearson on Instagram, at Chaz P on Twitter. Chris, you guys know where to follow him at Chris_Camelo on Twitter and on
Yes.
X as well. C Camelo1, I'm sorry, on Instagram. Appreciate you guys
There you
tapping
go.
in. We will see you
Yes, sir.
next week. We about to get out of here. I'm about to get some sleep because your boy's been up since 3 a.m. Go Dodgers, go Lakers. See y'all next week. Peace.